Okay, so today's lesson is on the distributive property. The first way I'm going to show you the distributive property is with an area model. This is how it was first conceived. Okay, so we have a rectangle that was divided up into two separate rectangles. And as we know, the area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. Now if I use 3 as the width of my rectangle and x and 2 as my lengths, they form this continuous line, right? So technically I can rewrite this as x plus 2. So I can group these together. It would be x plus 2. Well, if I apply length times width, I have 3 times 2 for this area, which would give me 6, and 3 times x, which would give me 3x. As we know, two parts of a whole add up to equal the whole. So if I have 3x and 6, if I want to make this whole rectangle, I add them together, and so the whole area is 3x plus 6. And that's kind of how the distributive property works. I took 3 and multiplied it by 2, and I take 3 and multiply it by x. So if I rewrite that, it's 3x times x plus 2. And I got 3x plus 6. Okay? All right. The distributive property in variables looks like this. I have a times b plus c is equal to a times b plus a times c. Okay? Distributive property is just multiplying a value into parentheses and applying it to both values inside the parentheses. Okay. All right. So for my first example problem, got the distributive property with addition. That means that the two terms on the inside of the parentheses are being added together. So I want to distribute the -4, which means multiply it by both terms on the inside. To write this out phonetically, it's -4 times 2 plus -4 times 1. So I'm multiplying -4 into both terms. So let me rewrite the distributive property up here for you guys. Okay, and then simplify. So -4 times 2 is negative, and I apologize, it's 2x. So -4 times 2x is -8x, and -4 times 1 is -4. Okay. It doesn't matter which side the number is on the parentheses. I can distribute it either way. So in this next example, I've got 1/3 times 3x minus 3. So I'm going to take 1/3, multiply it by 3x, minus 1/3 times 3. Simplified, I get 1/3 times 3 is 1x. -1/3 times 3 is 1, so minus 1. Okay, so these are my final answers: 1x minus 1 and -4x, or I'm sorry, -8x minus 4. Okay, and distributive property with subtraction works very similarly. Okay, except for we take into account that that's a negative sign on the inside. So I want to distribute this 4 to the inside. I get 4 times x minus 4 times 6. Distributed, simplify. 4 times x is 4x, and -4 times 6 is -24. Okay, so my final answer, 4x minus 24. All right. When you have just a negative sign outside, we have to consider what's missing. Okay? Wherever there is a sign or sitting out by itself, or a variable sitting out by itself, I can assume that there is a 1 with it. So I can say that that is the same thing as saying -1 times 2x minus 8. Okay? And I'm going to distribute in the -1. Remember, these arrows mean that I'm multiplying. So -1 times 2x is -2x. -1 times -8 minus negative 1 times 8. Okay. I apologize, that should be negative 1 times 2, not just negative 2. So I get negative 1 times 2x is negative 2x, and negative 1 times 8 is negative 8, and there's a subtraction in the middle. Okay? When I subtract a negative, okay, I can change that into addition. So I change it to addition by changing the sign of the operation and then the sign of the number. So instead of negative 2x minus a negative 8, it becomes negative 2x plus a positive 8, which is just negative 2x plus 8. Okay, for practice, spend the next few minutes practicing these 6 problems and have them ready to go for class tomorrow. Thank you, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email at the address I gave you at the beginning of the year. Have a good night.